Hey there, this is Katherine Cartwright. Welcome. I am sharing the flower pot box die set from Stamps of Life. I'm going to put one together. I was excited to get this. I used this in another video. I'll link that in the description where I made 10 cards. And a couple of them were the box set dies. One of them was a full-size box die and the other one was just a card front. So I'll link that in the description. But on this one, I have gone ahead and cut two pieces. To put this together, you're going to use that main die and you need two of the same pieces. And so I am going to fold down these edges, the crease. I've got a little bit of ink on my bone folder, so I need to wipe that off really quick before I ruin my project. And so I'm going to fold that back. And then I will glue these two pieces together and they work together beautifully. You could use liquid glue or a thick tape, a really super sticky tape. I am going to choose to use a liquid glue. That is what I mostly use for my projects these days. So I've got this piece down. I'm taking a second here to make sure that it is lined up, and it will line up very well because it's perfectly cut since it's a die cut. So I'm just taking a second here to make sure my fold is right where I want it to be, so the other side will fold up just as nicely. I'm going to let that dry for a second, and then when it's good and stable, I will repeat the same process on the other side. Now I could lay it flat and fold it in, but I like to go ahead and fold the tab down when I do things like this, because since it's a paper and it's got fiber, it is a fiber, I like to kind of work with it and make sure that it is going to fold correctly. So I've got this side here. I'm going to hold that down and I'm going to press this down. I've got a little bit of glue that came out, and so I'm going to open it up very gently and just make sure that it's not sticking, and then I'm going to let it dry before I move on. So I've made sure that it didn't stick together, and I made sure that it dried really, really well. I'm going to measure this. It's about 4 inches from top to bottom, and then from the widest part at the top, it's about 4 inches, and then on the side, it's about 1 inch at the very widest point at the top. And that is all there is to make that cute box. Look how cute it is, and it will fold down. Now I'm going to move on to the inside. There is a layering piece that you can use inside. I guess it's not technically a layering piece. It's the inside piece. I can't think of the right term for it. But what I have done is I folded one tab forward and one tab back. You can see that when it's folded, it fits really well in the box. And you can see that it goes a little bit further into the box to be at the correct angle. So I'm just gluing those tabs the opposite direction, and I'm going to kind of fold this in, and I'll press this in here, and I'm going to push it down a little ways until it hits the right spot, and then I can press each side in. This is a good project to have a bone folder handy. I love my bone folder to do things like this. And then once I've got that one side attached and I fold the other one, you can see that it will attach to the other side just as well. And then I am able to start folding the box flat. Now it's only going to fold one direction flat. You'll see this, but you can see I've got the divider. I'm going to call it a divider in there, and you can see that that is lying down very nicely. And be sure and let that dry really, really well. I hope I explained that well enough. At least visually you can see what I'm talking about. I've got some old paper here, some old Stamps of Life paper. Oh Joy is that paper pad I've had for years, and I'm just going to cut some of the pieces out. I need a layering piece for the front of my box, and then I'm going to cut a little piece of that Oh Joy to layer onto the top of the flower pot. So I'm just going to tape this down with a little bit of tape exactly where I want it so it won't move, and then I will run those through my machine. I've got my diamond press little tabletop marquee here that I use for a lot of these little projects. If you're interested in learning more about it, I've got a review video on it if you're looking for a desktop little small cutter like this. It doesn't have a motor, it's a manual machine. But I have a review, I'll link it in the description if you're interested. Okay, so I've got my pieces cut out, and now I'm ready to continue putting this sweet little box together. Got my liquid glue here, and since it's a perfectly cut layer, I won't have any problem lining that up, and I will let that dry. And then there's the tab that folds down in the front. Now you could glue the tab down if you wanted to completely, or you can leave it up for mailing. It's up to you, or for the recipient, it's just kind of a style choice. So whatever you want to do, and you can see you can fold the back down if you wish as well. I'm going to take a second here and do some stamping. This part of the video, I didn't get to show everything I wanted to, but you kind of get the idea. There's the Posies2stamp, which is the club set, and then there are some add-on sets that are a solid. This is the solid stamp, and then there is a pattern set as well. And so, oh my goodness, the possibilities are limitless with these two extra sets. My goodness, I mean, I just scratched the surface of how many things that I could make just by stamping out 6 different flowers. But again, you could just keep going and going and going because there's so many different layers. So I'm just kind of giving you a general look at some of the options. I love the one that has the little kind of outer border, but again, you could do that totally different. There's an inner border. I mean, again, there are just lots and lots of stamps. So I'm just using some bright colors here. I've got some pinks and an orange and yellow. So I'm trying to decide between banana and sunshine and which one I want to use to create my outer layer. So again, I'm just going to keep stamping these, and you can see they're kind of coming together, and I just wanted to show some of the pieces that you get in these different stamp sets. All right, so now I have die cut everything out. I went ahead and pulled out my penny slider set. That is going to be the stem for these flowers, for the extra ones. I'm going to put the first 3 in the very front, but I need to have a little stem for the other ones. So I'm taking 2 of these little penny slider pieces, and I'm just gluing them together so that they're nice and thick, and they will hold up my flowers beautifully. So let me get that second one, and then I will let that dry very well before I move on. Okay, so now I need to choose how I'm going to put this pattern together. I didn't really think too much about it, just kind of, I've got some solids, I've got some, that one that's a stitched one, and then one that has a pattern. So then I just went for it. I glued the first 3 into the box. You could leave it just like that if you wanted to, or I'm going to go ahead and take it a step further, and I'm going to add these flowers to the stems. And so I'll let those dry really well. These stems will be plenty long to go inside the box, and but I want them to set up really well. So I'm just going to kind of stick them on there, not really choosing any particular direction, because the flowers, they end up looking so cute anyway. And you know, fresh flowers are always kind of random, just like nature. So I'm going to lay out where I want these other stems to go, and then I'll add a little bit more glue in there. I'm just trying to get the placement exactly where I want them to go. Isn't that cute how it just lies flat? I love that. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, not all the way down because my stem is pretty long, and that little layering piece, the divider, is what I'm going to call it, inside that can accept some more flowers. I'm going to lay that one in the middle, kind of press it down, and then I can look inside and see if it's where I want it to be. Got this pink one here, and I'm going to press down, and that's going to kind of get a little off of where I want it to, so I can just quickly, since I've got that liquid glue, I can pull that up and get that into position. And then when I'm happy with that one, I can move on to the last one. And you'll see it felt kind of strange when I was doing that one, so I could tell that I had accidentally glued it to the back of the box instead of the front. So you could add another layer to the box if you wanted to, but I'm just going to put it in that center piece. And so you can see that I've got my 3 extra stems in the middle, and it seems to be drying well and correct and not sticking together, so that's a good thing. And then I'm just kind of making sure that it's going to do what I want it to do. All right, so there is a cute die set included in there, You Grow Girl, which I thought was cute, but it punches out the grow as individual letters, so I can make a different color for that. So I'm going to do You and Girl in pink. And I thought about doing the exclamation point in the same color, but then I wanted a little more contrast. So I'm going to put that one aside and I'll save that for another time. I've run it through my machine again. I'm using a darker green, and I went ahead and added some adhesive to the back of it. I've got a roll of adhesive that I use all the time. And so I just added it to the back of this little green piece of paper. And then I will add this onto my little word die, the little shadow, I should say. And here is the grow, but I do put the letters a little too close together. So I'm going to I haven't really pressed it down. It's got a pretty strong adhesive, but I'm going to be able to use my little pokey tool here and kind of shift it over and get it exactly where I want it to go. And then I'll add that W on there. But I thought that was cute, the way that you could have two different colors. And then I can add the exclamation point on the bottom. I cut one from green as well, the whole word, and so I can use those again on a different project. And there it is, You Grow Girl. And so I'm going to add this to the front of my box. And then I'm going to come back here with a little bit of leaves that I went ahead and die cut. I just cut from green apple and kiwi. And I'm just going to kind of scatter them around the box a little bit, not thinking too much about the pattern, but just to add a little bit of extra color to my box. And this one will go behind that tangerine. So pretty. And then I've got a couple more that I'm going to add. I love that orange one with the stitch detail. It's so much fun. And again, I just barely got started. I mean, I could spend a lot of time making these flowers. A lot of fun. And then I will add just a little bit of liquid glue to my You Grow Girl. And I thought about adding the flap underneath, but I don't like it. So I'm just going to leave it as is. So that one is ready to be given away. Now I'm going to have a second project here. I couldn't stop with just that, but that's how you put that box die together. But I do have two more pieces cut out of candy, and I've got the layering piece already cut, but I don't need those tabs, and you're going to see why. I'm not going to need the tabs in just a second. Here is one of my all-time very favorite dies that I've ever gotten from Stamps of Life. I have a few that I will never, ever, and I'm saying never, part with, and the box set die is one of them. I have the large one and the small one because I have a ton of fold-its, and these turn your fold-its into boxes, into gift boxes, which I love. I love to give gift cards. I do it a lot. I have teenagers. They don't really want gifts from me, I'll be honest. They want some money. They want some gift cards. But I like to give a little gift. So this is the way that I work it around to make it a little more exciting. Okay, so I have got that piece cut. I have had it folded, the edges. I've got my two pieces of the box set cut. And then I am going to glue these little folds onto one side of my box, of the box front, I should say. And you'll see I can layer this up there. You can trim the little tabs down if you have too many of them. Some of the fold-its are a little bit too tall. I have a lot of videos on my channel for the box it and the fold-it dies together. So if you're interested, be sure and check that out. I think I have a playlist as well that has them on there. So you can see I'm taking my hand there, and I'm going to use my bone folder as well to get the box into position exactly where I want it, and then I'm going to let that side dry. Now I'm coming back with the other side. It's unfinished. You could finish it if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter to me that much. I don't usually finish both sides because I'm usually giving the recipient a gift, and I want them to see that one side all decorated up. So I'm using my bone folder here to press down the second side, and I'm getting it straight and exactly where I want it to go. And then I'm going to let that dry. And again, a bone folder is a great tool to have for a project just like this. Okay, so once that is nice and dry and ready to go, I'm going to fill my box. This is the fun part. I've got some little shredded paper here that I keep in my craft stash. I have a couple of different colors that are great to fill little boxes like this, little treat containers, because I have a bottom now and I have a box so I can fill it. I've got some little candy bars here. I've got some suckers, some little lollipops that I'm going to add in, and then I will eventually add in a gift card. But how cute is that? And it holds, this box set is a pretty good size. So I can fill it with a lot of little gifts, including money or little hard candies, anything like that. I'm going to add this die on the front, have a happy day, and then there is that gift card, and my gift is ready to go. How cute is that? So that's the box set die. I've got that linked in the description. There's a large one and a small one. So here are two ideas using that flower pot, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, be sure and leave me a comment. I will be sure and answer it if I can. Sometimes my description and my explanation in my video is not always perfect, and there needs to be some follow-up. So I hope you enjoyed this though. If you've got this product, I encourage you to pull it out, and I'll check back with you soon. Have a great day.